Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 10 and the season finale of the Comeback Sports Podcast. I'm your host, AJ. I hope everyone's having a great day. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, including some college football, the Iowa-Wisconsin game, the Heisman predictions, the Browns making it to the playoffs potentially, fantasy football tips with my buddy Todd, the Logan Paul versus Mayweather fight, and I'll be having another special guest talking about the Bachelorette and the new Selena series that came out on Netflix, so stick around for some more. Now for your quote of the week. If you stand around and wait for what you want, you're going to be waiting your whole life. What does that quote mean? Well, simply, it means to me is that things aren't going to happen out of blue. You got to make things happen. And so, I mean, if you work hard, do everything right to prepare for any opportunity that comes at you, then you'll be where you need to be at. But sometimes you got to be aggressive, and in terms of putting yourself out there. If you're looking for a job, you got to put yourself out in the market. You can't just wait for someone to call you for a job. Or if you want to buy something, I mean, you can't just wait for someone to get it for you. You got to go out the store and buy it yourself. And then just anything, really, man. You got to put yourself out there and just kind of show a little initiative, and that will get you further in life than you expect. Yeah, as I mentioned, it is the season finale of my show. I'm going to do this thing where every 10 episodes I have a finale, and I'll take a short 1-month break just to kind of avoid being burnt out, because this show does take a lot of time and preparation. But yeah, next season will look great. I promise you that. Just kind of an update what's going on. Next month, I'll be going out of town to go to Arizona for work. So that'll be great. I've never been to Arizona. I'm pretty sure it's a lot warmer than Illinois right now. But right now it's not too bad. It's about 30s. And then Christmas is coming up. I hope everyone has a great holiday with their friends and family. I know I will. I will be going back to Iowa to spend time with my family. And then I'll have another Christmas with some family in Illinois as well. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I mean, this is so great. I mean, I can't believe I'm actually gotten this far at the show. I mean, let's get a little close up. I'm feeling real good. Let me zoom in. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's enough of me now. Yeah, so stick around. We're going to start with the Wisconsin at Iowa game. So we will get started on that right now. So I just watched the Wisconsin at Iowa college football game. Wisconsin lost to Iowa 7-28 at Iowa. To me, going into this game, it was just like another spot. It was just a spot for a good bowl game. I mean, Northwestern already secured the West Division for the Big Ten. Man, were they disappointed in Wisconsin, of course. So you know I'm a Wisconsin fan. Let me tell you the definition of a Wisconsin team. A great defense and a terrible offense. I mean, the good news is Wisconsin contained Tyler Goodson the first half, but they just could not score. It was just very hard to watch. At halftime, it was 0-6. So I was like, all right, defense is doing what it's supposed to do, but offense is not. I mean, both teams have great O-lines too, just real big, powerful men. There was a costly turnover on downs before half where Wisconsin probably could have scored or at least bring the ball more. Wisconsin's third and fourth offense is terrible when it comes to play calling. It just doesn't make sense to throw a screen pass or an out and easy on third and long, especially. Let me talk about the Iowa's quarterback, Petrus, Spencer Petrus. Yes, he's very interesting. He kind of reminds me of C.J. Beathard, kind of the facial features and style of play, but he's just way more a gamble thrower than like Nate Stanley, the previous quarterback. He'll make those risky throws, either if it's deep or heavily covered, and he doesn't really care. He just likes to go for the big plays at times, especially if it's to Smith-Marset. I mean, he's a really great athlete and has real good concentration in terms of getting the ball in his hand. I mean, I don't know I'm not sure. Hopefully he didn't get too injured doing that backflip in the end zone. I mean, I don't like him, honestly. He likes to get into some trouble. He got a DUI this season, and apparently in college football, if you're great and you get a DUI, you only lose one game. Some people lose their license. Well, I guess that's cool, I guess. But I got to knock it to Wisconsin's defense again because they're just pretty disciplined. They only allowed one penalty in the first half. Not a lot of teams can do that. And as I mentioned, like their offensive play calling is just not very good. They do not have the best pass schemes and just not very creative. Fourth down plays are not good. And when they are, Graham Mertz just doesn't produce. I mean, he didn't on a red zone play in the fourth quarter, which could have made it to a one-score game, but instead he threw for an interception. And at that moment, the momentum was just completely gone. Everyone just lost their confidence. Defense like, screw this. This sucks. We've done our part. We're out. Graham Mertz is, I'm out too. And as a result, they got Tyler Goodson, the guy that we contained all first half. He got an 80-yard touchdown run. It's obviously a mental thing in that last drive. It's just they gave up. They just gave up, and then this led to that, and it led to that. I want to say good job to Iowa. It's real hard for me to say it. My throat hurts when I say good job, Iowa. Because I hate Hawkeye fans. They're like cockroaches. You can't just get rid of them. But I just don't want to hate too much. I don't want to hate too much because, yeah, sure, Wisconsin didn't play good, but Iowa won the game because they played good. They were just on top of it offensively and defensively in the last half. And it's not easy to win 6 straight games after taking back-to-back L's beginning of the season. That kind of hurt. That kind of messaged you mentally. So I need to give them props for that. I mean, it's unfortunate you won't represent the Big Ten West. Actually, I'm okay with that. But I understand it must be struggling. You guys probably thought, man, we could be an undefeated team or we could be only a one-loss team because you guys definitely played a lot differently now than the beginning of the season. I mean, after that play I mentioned, when Iowa knew they won, they just ran a train in the Badgers. I love Paul Chryst. He's a very good, I think he's a good coach. He's not a great coach. I mean, I love his honest integrity in a very dirty conference that's the Big Ten with full of scummy-ass dudes. He has produced low talented players into elite college defenses, and I give him props for that. But he's just tone deaf when it comes to offensive play calling and creating these schemes to like get ahead. This I think Wisconsin and Paul Chryst need to do. They just need to hire a new offensive coordinator and then let him do the play calling full time, and maybe get a better quarterback coach because Graham Mertz is not playing anywhere near he was beginning of the season against Illinois. It's like he's completely digressed and turned into exactly like a Wisconsin quarterback always is. Graham Mertz is not like those guys. He is so talented. Patrick Mahomes is giving props because they're playing their buddies now. And something's not going right in the coaching side of things that's degressing him. If Chris can't pull it off this year, pull it off next year, I think it might be time to move on because barely just almost getting there is going to get tiring enough. And I love Wisconsin. I think they're a great program, and I want to see them excel. And this is not a good step in the direction. So I hope you guys have a great off season, make some changes, and we'll restart in the next fall. So appreciate the games. It's hard with COVID, but I'm glad you guys at least showed up. Just not today. So I'm going to talk about my Heisman predictions for this college football season. I mean, it's been a wild season, man. A lot of canceled games, but a lot of great performances. So I'm going to start with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is on the list. It goes from kind of lowest to highest chance. But Zach Wilson made the list, though. He's a newcomer in the conversation. He's from BYU. And BYU had a fantastic season. I'm sure people criticize that their schedule is very weak, just playing a bunch of group of 5 teams. But what can he do? I mean, he's in an independent conference. He's an independent team, and he has no control over that. So it's not. He's just doing what he has to do. And he brought them to, I think, only a 1-loss record. And it's crazy. He's very good, and he increased his draft stock by a lot. Then I'll transition to Justin Fields. Going into the season, Justin Fields was my preseason pick for the Heisman. He's just very mobile, very athletic, good durability, and very efficient with the ball. He was looking like that. I mean, right now he has the highest completion percentage, and he's just real explosive too, and he can make plays happen. Sometimes I question his decision-making ability. But he's just been playing really good. But one bad game kind of ruined his chances of making this Heisman pick. It's unfortunate because Ohio State hasn't played a lot of games, so he doesn't get too many opportunities to shine. Trevor Lawrence is next on my list. He's projected to be the number one pick in the draft just because he's so poised and well polished as a quarterback. He can make those tight window throws. He's big. He's strong. He's like the next Andrew Luck coming into the draft. And Andrew Luck did pretty good until he retired. But you know what happened to Andrew Luck, though? He got drafted into a terrible team with a terrible line, and it caused him to retire early. And Trevor Lawrence may go into the draft, and he may get drafted into the Jets this season. And it may not look too pretty for him. Because here's the thing. Never expect a rookie quarterback to change a franchise. That is not his responsibility. His responsibility is to play the best ball game he can to try to win games. The franchise has to give him the support to do that. And an example I can say is I say great things about Joe Burrow with my episode Trevor, but the Bengals, they kind of stun his growth a little bit. As a result, he's now injured, and he could be out for a while. Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be the top Heisman pick. He just hasn't been super explosive, and he had his chance to have a Heisman moment against Notre Dame, but he had COVID, so he couldn't play that game. But he does get a chance to play Notre Dame for the ACC championship game. Then next is Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask had the Heisman in his hands until last night. Before last night, he was just so explosive he could throw that ball, and he had such a great connection with the tight end Kyle Pitts, and he's leading the league in total touchdowns. He's putting up Joe Burrow numbers from last year, and he won the Heisman. However, he just had a subpar performance against a depleted LSU team, and they lost the game, and so that kind of hurt it. I think that's going to hurt his chances of winning the Heisman. So before I get to my number one Heisman candidate, I want to say some honorable mentions. Mac Jones from Alabama. He's playing unbelievable ball as a first-year start for Alabama. Breece Hall from Iowa State. He's the best running back in the country right now. Ian Book had an outstanding career at Notre Dame, and he has a chance to take him to the college playoffs. And then Najee Harris, who I think is the second, no less than the third best running back in the country. So my number one pick for the Heisman would be Alabama wide receiver Devonta Smith. He is essentially the most valuable player in college football and hands down the best receiver. He's first in yards in the NCAA. He's second in TD and overall receptions. Wide receiver Jaden Waddle got injured in October, and people expected, well, since Waddle's out, they're going to be twice as much coverage on their next best target, Devonta Smith. Even with that extra coverage on him, he still progressed and played even better and stepped up for the missing person that's on their team. He has been so reliable to Mac Jones' success. That's what helped him get into the Heisman conversation. Smith has 550-yard-plus games, and he has two of those games are 200-plus yards. The only person I think that's in that conversation that many yards per game is, I think, Ty Frogel from Indiana. It's just unbelievable. He's number one in SEC punt return yards, and Saturday night, he got a punt return TD. He can just do it all. He is just so valuable and has contributed a lot of success into the offense for Alabama. And I don't expect him to digress. I mean, he's just continued to step up and step up. And I think what's going to solidify his chance is when it comes to the SEC championship game against Florida. He's going to put up some numbers, man, because Florida's defense is not really that great. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another 200-plus yard game. And I think that's what's going to solidify his run for the Heisman. So I'm cheering for Devonta Smith, and I can't wait to see what happens moving forward for the rest of the season. I want to talk about something that's kind of been in the media lately that's been a surprise, honestly. The Browns. The Cleveland Browns are in contention to make the playoffs. This will be the first time since 2002 they've been in the playoffs if they make it. It's very interesting. I mean, in 2016, which was 4 years ago, they were 1-15, and then 2017 they were 0-16. The Browns were pretty much the laughing stock of the league. the turnaround is amazing. I mean, some first-round picks are paying off, such as Myles Garrett, who is third in the league in sacks and second in fumbles. The list includes fourth overall pick Denzel Ward from Ohio State, who is fourth in passes defended. He's a great cornerback. Their success isn't just in draft picks. They got fifth straight Pro Bowler wide receiver Jarvis Landry. He was acquired in 2018 from the Miami Dolphins, and he's been Baker Mayfield's favorite target. The run game is probably their strongest suit. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are both top 10 in rushing yards. I mean, those are two big names, and they're on the same team, so it's no wonder that the run game is so great. Nick Chubb's is the most efficient with the ball between the two. He averages 6 yards per carry, which is the most among running backs, so that's incredible from him. I mean, shout out to head coach Kevin Stefanski. I mean, his experiences as an offensive position coach are finally helping him out, and he's able to maintain that solid defense. I mean, I nominated him for Coach of the Year for turning this deadbeat franchise around. I mean, so yeah, I mean, he's definitely in the discussion along with Ron Rivera from the Washington football team. Their defense is nothing spectacular. It's just very solid, as I mentioned. The strongest trait in that defense is their rush defense and just being very disciplined. I mean, they're second in the league in first down penalties allowed. I mean, all those little tiny details, those pay off in the end. They won 6 games with rush-heavy offenses, including the Titans with Derrick Henry, and it makes sense why they're so successful, and they, of course, won that game. They're also very aggressive in the defensive side. They are third in forced fumbles, and as a result, they have the highest turnover percentage in an offensive drive on their opponent's team. Lastly, there's just a huge improvement in Baker Mayfield. He was a guy that was easy to, pick on or just kind of shoot down just because of his antics. He was in Oklahoma. He was just very loud, did some weird gestures, and he just came off as just a very cocky dude. And he got in trouble that one time for with the police where he got tackled, and he was just easily someone you didn't want to root for. And his first year, he didn't do too bad. His second year, he had a very down year, and that's when people started to think that maybe he's the problem for the team. But when he's engaged, he can make something happen. He's had 2 games with 4+ TDs, and his touchdown interception ratio is just astronomically better than last year. He's a talented guy, and he's surrounded by all this talent that I mentioned, and this is on both sides of the ball. Now I just think it's just a mental game. Can he just keep with this rhythm and continue to get that ball down without turning it over? I mean, I've seen him throw the football real deep. I've seen him hold on to the ball. I mean, Oklahoma, he was great. He was great at minimizing turnovers, and he can do the same thing now. He just got to keep himself engaged and just not let anything get to him. And I think he's finally catching on to that. I mean, big props to him for just turning it around because people were doubting him at the beginning of the season. People were doubting him in the middle of the season when the Browns were still doing good, but he just didn't let it get to him. He's just fully engaged now. I think the Browns are going to make it to the playoffs and do well. I mean, there'll probably be a wild card team, just because there's just a very stacked division out there, and hopefully him and the Browns will get at least one win. I'm rooting for them, and I expect another great season next year too. Since we're on the discussion of talking about the Browns, I actually have a special guest on my show, and we'll be talking about fantasy football along with some playoff predictions. So please welcome my good friend Todd. Yay!
It's an honor to be on the show. I'm doing great, AJ. Thank you.
Yeah, Todd was just in Chicago. I didn't get the chance to meet up with him because we were both busy doing our own things. But how was your weekend getaway?
It was a nice little getaway, Sometimes you just need to spend the weekend in a hotel and relax. So it was nice to see that I come back to my fantasy team doing poorly. So it's always great news.
Yes, and speaking of fantasy, that's what we're going to be talking about. People that have been nothing but disappointments on our team and just the frustrations of fantasy. So, Todd, who has been sucking dick the most on your team?
Oh man, so I have one big player on my team who's been kind of costing me a lot of games due to bad judgments on my part, and that's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan started off the season great. I believe 27 points his first game, 25 points his second game. After that, he's just been pretty inconsistent for me. In the last few weeks, he's been invisible. I mean, he's cost me a couple games where he's gotten 5 points, 10 points, 13. Like, out of a starting QB, I just need more production than that.
Yeah, I feel you. One QB I picked up in waivers was Carson Wentz, and I'll put him in for a bye week with Josh Allen, who's my starting quarterback. Nope, no production, just absolute garbage. I thought, you know what, it's an easy matchup. I think it was against a really lesser team, so he's
Hmm.
got to do something out of this. No, he's just
Just
terrible.
bad, yeah, just bad. And it's something where, for example, Matt Ryan today, I just looked at the stats real quick, and Russell Gage threw the only touchdown that the Falcons have. Matt Ryan has 21 yards, four passes, zero touchdowns. Russell Gage has one pass, 39 yards, and a touchdown. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And I got Josh Jacobs on my lineup, and he injuries just been killing him, man. I can't get anything consistent out of him. And guess who gave him to me?
That's
My
why
good buddy Todd over here. Who did I give you for Josh Jacobs?
you gave me Mr. Connor and Will Fuller, who didn't know he was doing steroids, but apparently that's illegal in the NFL. I don't know why. Like, you might as well let everybody be as strong as possible, right?
Yeah, but we don't want anyone's dick shrinking though.
That's very true. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, the less chance that he's going to sleep with my girlfriend, so that's always a plus side on that.
Yeah, in the acquisition for Josh Jacobs with Todd, I also got CD Lamb, and CD's
Solid
nuts, they
receiver, man.
suck, man. I can't get anything out of him either.
It's just quite unfortunate because CD, and I'm not gonna lie, next year I'm gonna try to draft him again. But with Dak Prescott, he's a completely different player. It's not I'm taking away from Andy Dalton by any means. Andy Dalton's doing as much as he can, but their offensive line's beat up at this point as well, and it's just something where
Right.
they're not having as much production as they like. Even though they had a solid win today, 30-7, so it's nice to see that the Cowboys are getting back into the groove.
Yeah, it is nice to see Andy Dalton beat his old team too.
Oh yeah, I mean that team's busted too, so it's
Yeah,
not saying a lot.
yeah. I was just talking on my last segment of how you can't trust a rookie quarterback to change your franchise. It takes a lot of pieces and good
Hmm.
management to turn around a team like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm rooting for them. Hopefully they'll get something, but they just need to draft some O line pieces to protect their quarterbacks.
yeah. And are you talking about Cincinnati?
Yeah,
Or
Cincy.
yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, dude, I love Burrow this year. Burrow was a solid player. It's too bad what happened to his knee, but I mean, that's kind of what happens when you're a rookie and you think you can take on these 300-pound linemen. Eventually, they're gonna get you. They're gonna nab you, and it's not gonna feel good.
Right. Yeah, speaking of these people that want to destroy you, like I had the Ravens defense in my lineup, and I was looking real good with them. And then there'll be times where they just allow so much garbage points, and then I'll go from like 11 points, and then 20 minutes later, I'm down to like 6 points.
Yeah, it's defenses are tough, man. Honestly, like I would probably say that there's maybe three to four that you can rely with a consistent. I'm gonna put them in my lineup every week, and they're gonna get you anywhere between 4 and 10, 4 and plus points a week. And I mean, that's just how defenses are in fantasy. You can never really rely on one. A lot of it's matchups, and some of it's just luck. But
Right. Yeah, and then something that's been really that really bugs me is when I get players. I mean, you can understand this. I get players that get so many touches or targets, and they get all these yards, but they don't give me any TDs, and it's like most of those yards are pointless because the TDs is what makes you win week over week.
yeah, and I mean we do play in a non PPR, so
Right.
it's important that they get the touchdowns because with receivers and PPR, like even if they aren't scoring touchdowns, like a player gets 5 to 10 receptions, that's 5 to 10 extra points, and a receiver can have anywhere between 15 and 20 points, which is fine. Like that'll do the job.
Right. And then like one thing is just this is me personally. I'm just so hesitant with trades. Like I think, oh, this is working. I don't need to do anything. But then when something bad happens, like Well, is it just a off? It's just a bad week or an off or a week or a bad matchup? Is like I just don't know the direction to go sometimes.
And it all depends. Yeah, and it all depends what kind of league you're into. Like our league, for example, is sweaty dudes that like to play fantasy and snag people off the waivers, try to rip you off any chance they can get, and it's just something where you got to do your research. Who's good? How consistent are they? And is what you're trading going to be valued later in the
Oh,
season? And a lot of things is you just kind of have to take in consideration that sometimes you're not going to get the best into the trade. That's just how it works sometimes.
right. Because otherwise, why would you want to make a trade if you're not going to win out of it?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
they're
yeah,
I mean, they're gonna when people make trades, they're gonna find a way that they can maximize
yeah.
the trade. So that just happens sometimes that you are in the short end of the stick.
You just gotta look for longevity, man. 13 weeks of regular seasons. It's a long season, so it's you gotta look. They might not be top scoring players, but if they're gonna get you 8 to 10 points every week, and you're giving up a superstar who's injury prone, I'd say go for it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're in the playoffs right now, and this is where it gets spicy because once you lose this week, you're out for good. Well, technically, depending which bracket you're in, if you lose, you have no chance of winning your uh your bracket. So, do you have any
Correct.
tips of going into the playoffs?
Yeah. So I mean, just be very wary of what players you draft or what players you have on your team. A lot of teams at this point in fantasy are starting to clinch their division, such as the Chiefs, the Steelers. If the Saints win today, they'll clinch as well. So there will be a lot of points in the games coming up in the playoffs where your starting running back, your starting receiver might receive less touches on the ball, less receptions. They might start resting players just to get ready for the actual playoffs coming up in the next few weeks. So just be very wary of what players you have on your teams if they're on one of those top dog teams. Also, another thing to keep in mind when we're dealing with playoffs are matchups are very important. Keep in mind, for example, if you have any player on Seattle this week playing the Jets, that's a must start. Even if you're in a 12, 14 man league and it's something where you see a deep league where you have maybe that rookie receiver on Seattle, I'd say if you don't have any other options, it wouldn't hurt to draft because, I mean, Jets, worst team in the NFL right now, defense ranked number 27th. You never know who's going to score the touchdowns there.
Right. Yeah, and I think another thing to pay attention to is when you look at like matchups on defenses, sometimes have to pay attention like which part of their defense is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see a defense that's like maybe 25th overall, but pay attention to what makes them 25th. It could be they have a good run game, but their pass game just allows so many yards. It's kind of like the Seattle Seahawks. So like, oh,
Right.
okay, this defense allows a lot of passing yards and TDs, and I have a matchup with one against some of my receivers. Yeah, that's an opportunity to take.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, this is a longevity race. You got to kind of think ahead at times. Uh, but for people that are kind of interested in the playoffs, excuse me, the fantasy football, do you have any like tips for people that want to start in the 2021 season? So yeah, Todd, this is you. You just won our fantasy league. You got $30 out of it, and you now have your own show, and you give tips like Matt Berry on how to
Oh,
do
yeah.
good in the fantasy league. So what are your three tips you want to give to the newcomers in
I,
fantasy?
that would be the life for sure. I'm not gonna lie. So coming in as a newbie playing fantasy football, I have three tips that I'd like to give you. One, in my personal opinion, never draft a rookie in the first round unless maybe it's a late 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th pick. Um, don't get me wrong, there's some great rookies that come into the class, but for example, we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's a great RB, but he's just not putting up first round draft numbers at this point. Like he's very talented, very fast, but it could be a fact that just the team he's on. He's on a very pass heavy team. Patrick Mahomes is the playmaker on that team. He's the one who's going to dictate who gets the ball, who's going to score. So it's just something where you can find somebody who's been doing very consistent the past seasons. Like, for example, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins would be a great pick. Alvin Kamara is always a safe pick, and it's just something where I know a lot of people this year gave up Alvin Kamara to go for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I mean, Alvin Kamara before Drew Brees got hurt was phenomenal, especially in PPR. This man gets 9 receptions, 97 yards receiving, 50 yards on the ground, and a couple touchdowns. It's just something where go with what's safe, in my opinion. My second hint would be don't overuse the waivers. Waivers are very important, so it's good to use when you need it. For example, if you have an RB and he gets hurt and you see that his backup is still on the waivers, that would be a good time to use it. Overusing the waivers is only going to put you at the back of the line moving forward, and then at that point, it's just something where you're never going to be able to secure those solid players that come apparent on the waivers. And for my last one, when in doubt, bury it out. So this one is my favorite one, Matt Berry. I love to watch his stuff, and I'm not gonna lie. He's not 100% right. He's not a freaking fortune teller. It's not like he can predict the future, but he knows his stuff. He's got his statistics right, and it's just something where if you're unsure of who to start, it's a good idea to listen to him. I mean, probably 85% of the time, which is a made up statistic, by the way. But what I feel is when I listen to him, it works out for me.
Yeah, I mean, as Todd said, dude, get the experts to do the work for you, man. We're just people that work 9 to 5 jobs. These guys, they look at NFL stats and players every single day, so they know their shit, and we got to trust them sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah, some good stuff, Todd. Hopefully we can come out of these playoffs alive, so we can get some money. I at
God,
least
I
want my
hope
money
so.
back because I think third place gets your entry fee back.
Yeah, you get
Right?
$20 back, $20. So
Nice. That's good, man. I can get a nice meal with that.
that
Hey,
wouldn't be too shabby.
yeah, I might go get some Red Lobster. Yeah, that's fancy. Bougie.
Ooh, dude, we just had a seafood broil in Chicago. It was amazing.
What'd you get?
It's a seafood broil. It was at like Mad Crab, or I don't remember what it was called, but basically, like what they do is they put like we got combo A, which is crabfish, crawfish, and shrimp with potatoes and corn. They put in like this big old bag, and they put like a bunch whatever seasoning. We got the garlic butter Cajun thing, whatever, and we got like the medium spice, and it was delicious, man. It was so good.
Damn. Next we come back, you have to show me so we can go.
Oh, dude, I'm down. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad we can talk about fantasy, but now let's talk about what's actually going on in the NFL, which is playoff predictions. So, Todd, what we'll do is I will give you my division, my conference predictions for the AFC,
Okay.
and then you'll give yours, and then we'll talk about some things about our picks. So I'll start
Sure.
off. For the AFC, I got the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Bills, the Colts, Browns, Dolphins, and then the Raiders. What are your picks?
And so, AJ, it's funny you say that because that's actually the exact same one that I have. Um, I do see some good potential in all those teams. I mean, I'm not big on Baltimore. I know there's seven
Me
teams
neither.
in it, but it's just something where I know Baltimore and the Raiders are pretty close. But in my offense, the Baltimore Ravens just have too many holes in their team to kind of push through that playoff prediction.
Yeah, and then Lamar Jackson's history of playoffs just doesn't look very good, and he's just not looking like he was last year to begin with in the regular season. So I have my doubts.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray is just a far upgraded version of Lamar,
I
and at
love
least,
Kyler
yeah.
Murray.
And this season, Kyler's looking great. He's looking fantastic, and it's just something where Kyler can throw the ball. In my opinion, Lamar's he can't. Don't get me wrong, he can throw the ball, but like he can't like as like a top rated QB should.
Right. Yeah. He's electric. He's Showtime. He can move. He can do it. He can do a lot of things. But yeah, I just don't trust him with the ball, and he has to go third and long. I don't know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
of our picks for the AFC, who do you think is going to be the biggest surprise?
One upsetting teams in there. I'm gonna go Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins just lost to the Chiefs by one possession today. It was a great game. I just see like they don't have any superstars on their team, and I actually was talking to my girlfriend's brother, and he's like, "Dude, the Dolphins suck. How are we almost lose?" Because he's a big Chiefs fan. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like, hey, Dolphins are 8-4 this year. I think a lot of people forget how well they've been doing. I mean, under Tua, under Fitzmagic, like both those guys have been doing great this season. Their defense has been phenomenal, phenomenal this year, and they don't have any superstars, but they just play ball. They play ball to win, and that's how they've been making these results.
Yeah, and I made this note to you before that last year, like, sure, the Dolphins weren't great. They were losing games, but those games were close games. They weren't like tank games like the Jets would do. And like they just needed a couple more pieces. And I had faith in Brian Flores, the head coach, because he's one of those Bill Belichick prodigies. And between him and Matt Patricia, he's the better coach. One, because he still has his job, but two,
Mm-hmm.
Matt Patricia tried to mimic Belichick's like mannerisms to like style of being a very uptight and stern coach. Well, Flores actually uses the lessons to a higher degree that makes him successful in Miami, and it shows off sometimes because, believe it or not, like I always expect kind of I always expect kind of the Dolphins to always have a chance against the Patriots because Brian Flores knows them very well.
Yeah, so I take it then you're going Dolphins too for your
Yeah, I
little
think
sleeper
Dolphins will.
pick.
I think Dolphins will at least make it to. I think they'll win at least one playoff game. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, anyone else out there, I think would be a sleeper would probably be. I think the Browns. I think the
Browns.
Browns have
Yeah,
a good shot. I mean, I just said earlier in the show that they've really been a comeback team this decade. I mean, they didn't win a single game. I think in 2017.
I,
That was just crazy
yeah.
that they are and almost in the playoffs now. They play the Ravens on Monday, and I think Baker Mayfield has a shot of taking out the Ravens. So we will see what happens.
I
So
I
no, go
think.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a real realistic chance that happens. I was also gonna just add one more thing that
What's up?
depending on how the bracket's set up, I could see the Raiders being a little sneaky pick too.
Mm,
Um, they're very inconsistent, but I've seen great football from them, especially when they play the Chiefs. I just think something where the Chiefs, that's almost like their kryptonite. You throw Derek Carr and the boys in there, and that's just something where Derek Carr has something to prove at that point. It's a
right.
division game, something where it's just a good rivalry, and it's just I think it's possible to see them at least make it past the first round of the playoffs if they secure a spot.
Yeah, I mean, I like their offensive scheme, and they like to take chances on fourth down conversions. Not a lot of teams are confident to do that, but they like to take the risks. I mean, they're a gambling team in a gambling city, so it only makes sense.
Grind and Groot, baby. Grind and Groot.
Ryan and Rue. All right, so let's get an NFC, Todd. So let me hear your picks, then I'll tell you mine.
All right, so I'll just go from division and I'll go wild card off of that. So I'm gonna go. I mean, this is a little biased to start off with, but I am a Giants fan. But I have high confidence that the Giants can win their division. Don't get me wrong, every team in our division is pretty weak this year. I mean, I do like how Washington's looking as well on a non-biased side. Their defense is solid, but so does the Giants.
Mhm.
The Giants struggled a little bit today against the Cardinals, but every team has their day. But I think it's something where we can secure a spot, especially since Daniel Jones is going to be back next week, and they should be able to have a good game. Um, Moving on to the North, we got Green Bay Packers.
That's
There's no
right.
doubt in my mind if they win today, they clinch their division. They're just A-Rod. A-Rod's a solid player. Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, top receiver in the league. It's just there's no way that I can see them not making the playoffs. Winning the South, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. If they win today, they clinch as well. But, I mean, let's be realistic here. Last 5 years, the Saints have always been a top dog team. Just something where they're always playoff bound. I doubt they lose out from here. So it's something where I see they win their division. And then now we get into the West. It's a little bit different. It's close in the West right now, but I could see Seattle. It's gonna be funny because actually this is gonna play off. So Seattle, the Rams, and the Cardinals, I could all see making it to the playoffs,
Oh
which
wow.
is weird. With 2020, I don't know if everybody knows this or not. I was actually just informed today by AJ, but 7 teams are now going to be in the playoffs versus the usual 6. There's going to be 3 wild cards. but I could see 3 of those teams coming from the West this year. And then the last wild card spot, I see the Bucks. I mean, Tom Brady, he's just got that competitive nature. I could see him pushing his team to the next level and just securing a spot as well.
Yeah, to make sure that Tom knows what down it is too in the game.
But Tom with dementia, man. I don't see them going far. Don't get me wrong on that. It's just Tom Brady. I know we talked about it last time. Is just he just hasn't been the same. So I mean, if he did get beat, I wouldn't be super surprised. But it's just something where he's old, man. He's getting old. He's a legend by every means. But Tom Brady, he's got dementia. He doesn't know what down it is. He doesn't realize games are over. He thinks it's halftime. Like that's crazy.
Oh yeah, explain why Tom Brady doesn't shake people's hands sometimes.
Oh yeah, man. It's just he thinks it's halftime. He doesn't know the game's over. So after the game, like for example, like let's say the Cardinals beat Tampa Bay, he would not go up to Kyler Murray and shake his hand after the game because he's like, competitive Tom. It's only halftime. Coach, why is everybody walking towards each other? It's wild, man. I don't know. He's just
uh,
not the same guy. He's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. He's GOAT in a lot of people's opinions. I mean, personally, Joe Montana could be considered there. You could put Peyton Manning. There's just a lot of legends that play. But I mean, if you're going off rings alone, I mean, he's a GOAT. He's a
mhm.
GOAT based off that fact for sure.
Yeah, I like the Joe Montana case because I'm pretty sure he's undefeated in the Super Bowl, so that's pretty
Hmm.
cool. Did you hear about that story of Joe Montana's like granddaughter or grandkid got like kidnapped in their home, and he had to tackle the person that kidnapped her?
Yeah, I did actually. That's freaking wild, dude.
Right. Before we get too off topic, I'll give you my predictions for the
Yeah,
NFC. I got the Saints, Packers, Rams, the Washington football team. I have to make sure I said that correct. The Seahawks, Buccaneers, and the Vikings. But I'm not too confident in the Vikings now.
oof. That's did they win today?
No,
I think they
Bucks took care of
lost.
them. Bucks took care of them.
Yeah, fuck Adam Thielen. Sorry. Excuse my language, but gosh, dude, he's on my PPR team. Every week I start him, he doesn't do anything. And every week I don't start him, he gets like 100 plus yards, 10 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I'm like, bro, you gotta pick one. You either gotta suck or you gotta be good because I cannot deal with this right now. You're giving me anxiety.
For real. Um, yeah, Adam. I like Adam Thielen. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins sometimes.
Yeah,
But I give Kirk some props, man. He gets a lot of hate because he doesn't win too many big time games.
Kirky
Uh,
Kirk.
yeah, but I'm rooting for him. I hope they make the playoffs, but they'll be a first round exit unless they play the Saints, which I don't think is going to happen because Saints are
Yeah.
talking about their bye week.
When the Saints come marching down, bro.
Yeah, they need to take care of the Vikings. It's been like twice in a row where they've ruined their run.
Oh yeah. The Vikings just aren't great in the playoffs, man. You know? Or getting
Right.
to the playoffs. I mean, when you got Green Bay in there, it's hard. I mean, you got to fight that for that wild card spot. I mean, it's a little easier this year since there's 3 spots, but honestly, I think the NFC is pretty sound this year. Usually, I'd say the AFC is the stronger unit, but I think it's pretty close. I mean, you
Yeah,
got the Chiefs. I was big on the Steelers this year too. Huge on the
because you had their
Steelers.
defense for fantasy.
Yeah, I was huge on them. I mean, I snagged them off the waivers after like week 5 or 6, so it's not like I had them all year, but it's just something where I'm like, wow, 10-0. Like you can't. Yeah, a lot of people said their schedule was weak, but it's just something where you can't ignore greatness. You know, like 10-0, you earn every game. But
Yeah,
then Washington football team comes in. They said, hey, we got a playoff shot too, but we got to put the big dogs down. They come
yeah,
in, give them the work. And it's just something where if I see it, it just shows that the Steelers are vulnerable, you know? If
right.
Washington can come in there, just any team can beat them.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, like our difference in the NFC East is I picked Washington to win the division over the Giants, and that's probably because I trust. Yeah, Todd mentioned they're both defensively sound teams. But I think I'm a little bit biased because I'm rooting for Ron Rivera. I think his story is pretty cool. He overcame cancer and he's coaching a
Wow.
football team, Also, like the Alex Smith comeback too. I mean, this man
That's
literally
cool. Yeah,
almost died until they had to get like military surgeons to work on his leg.
that's
Um,
that's insane.
do you think like players are scared to hit him because of that surgery?
I I would say some, but you got Sue and some other dudes that are just crazy, man. Come
Like
on,
Miles
Sue.
Garrett. Miles
Yeah,
Garrett
I mean,
murdered
you
someone.
just you just have people like some of those dudes they just don't care. Like they're out there to hit people. Like they have issues. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's their job and everything. So like I don't hate, but like it's sad to see when you see like Andy Dalton, for example, when Washington played against the Cowboys, that man got speared. There's no reason
Oh yeah,
that tackle ever needed to happen the way it happened, and they were out for blood, man. That man had a concussion for a couple weeks. I thought he was dead for a second. Like it was bad. Like, and they just do that sometimes. And I've always been one of those guys I see that new quarterback rule, the precautions they take and sometimes I'm like, man, this isn't football. It's soft, whatever. But it's like sometimes it needs to be like that because I mean sometimes the refs make bad calls, but you see it and some 300-pound dude coming at you and he just spears your ankle like that thing's broke. If he comes at you like that, it's over. So
yeah,
I get some of the precautions they take.
yeah. Um, I'm excited for the playoffs when they come off. Hopefully we come on top of our playoffs. But
Hey,
as for your Super Bowl favorites, who's coming out from both conferences and who's the winner?
okay, so Super Bowl, I'd love to see it mixed up in the AFC, but I genuinely see the Chiefs. Chiefs, fantastic team. Sure, they have close games. They've only lost one game to the Raiders. It's just they're you can't Patrick Mahomes, MVP. I don't care what anybody else says. This kid's worked so hard for what he has, and he's phenomenal. He is absolutely phenomenal. And I love watching him play, but their receiving core is insane. I mean, you have the best tight end perhaps in history, Travis Kelsey,
Oh yeah,
just destroying people. He's big, he's strong, he's shifty, just fantastic out there. Tyreek Hill, fastest man on the field, just runs downfield. Patrick Mahomes has the accuracy to hit any of his receivers. Their whole core is just built by speed, other than Kelsey, but that's where Kelsey completes their core is just he's the strength. I mean, you
yeah,
have earth, wind, and fire out there basically. And then run game, I mean, their receivers open up their run game because a lot of the teams like to play the cover defense against them, and it's just something where it's make it more man to man exactly, and it's where that leaves holes for the run game to happen. That's where I see the AFC, NFC. I have a lot harder making a decision on the NFC because I just think it's a lot closer, in my opinion. I mean, I could see the Saints. I mean, I could see Green Bay. I could see. I mean, honestly, Tampa could squeeze in there. It's just something where you could see teams just winning out of nowhere. I mean, it's just so close. I mean, because Tampa Bay destroyed Green Bay. And I think I'm going to put Green Bay. That's who I see winning it, but it's just something where I just see it in the NFC, anybody can beat anybody. And it's happened throughout the year.
yeah. I agree with you 100%. AFC, the clear top guys are clear as night as day, and the NFC it's a little bit more gray lined of who's the top team. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the same thing. I got Chiefs playing against the Packers in the Super Bowl, and if it comes down to it, I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs because they have everything that they need to win a Super Bowl. Their run game got a little bit better, and I'm pretty sure their defense got just as good too. And I mean, Aaron, you know me, I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan. I mean, I have him right behind me.
It's a little, you got to put it up. Yeah, there you go.
But Aaron Rodgers he's I think he's the most valuable player because without him, Green Bay is not a winning team.
hmm
There's just a lot more pieces in Kansas City. I think they can put a quarterback in and still win. But Patrick Holmes is great. He's the next thing he's the face of the league already. And he's only in his third starting year.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
to be honest, I mean, he's got potential to surpass the GOAT. He really does. This kid, This kid can play, and from his first season starting to this season, you could just the difference is unreal. It's just something where you see this. I mean, first year I'm Super Bowl champion last year, and this year contender, good chance of contending in the Super Bowl again, and that's off his first 3 seasons. It's insane to see, and I first season he plays, this kid throws 50 or 5,000, 50 touchdowns for 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's not an
Crazy.
easy stat to get. I mean,
It was just the
it's
perfect matchup, I think. He had the perfect coach, the perfect
oh,
offense to
dude,
work with.
Andy Reid is the perfect coach for Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. That man destroys the playbook. He calls great plays. He's good in tight game situations. He's a fantastic coach. It's two. I for all my Bears fans out there, I support you guys. I love you guys, but I think you guys would have destroyed this kid. I really do. I'm not trying to hate on the organization, but especially this year, you've seen how Matt Nagy's been making a lot of questionable calls. It's just something where I just don't see the coaching being up par with this kid's potential.
I
And
agree with
from
you.
his first year starting to now, he liked to scramble a lot, which was great. But you can see how much more comfortable Patrick Mahomes is in the pocket. He finds those passes, those tight windows, and it's fun to watch.
I agree. Oh well, I think we're gonna wrap it up from here, Todd. Thanks again for hopping on this call. I'm sure you had a real busy weekend, so appreciate the time.
Gosh.
But yeah, let's let's hope. Well, yeah, I mentioned let's hope we make it out of the playoffs alive, and hopefully our predictions for the NFL playoffs are true. If not, hopefully it'll be an interesting playoff run because it's
Yeah.
2021. It's 2020. Anything can happen.
Yeah, true that, man. Hopefully everybody stays healthy and safe, and hopefully we get over all this soon.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, now that me and Todd are done with our little conversation, next I'll be talking about the Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather fight and my thoughts on it. So
Ooh.
see you later, Todd. We'll have to talk about that fight when that happens too.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
I always enjoy my little conversations with Todd. He's a funny guy. He's just so goofy. So let's kind of jump into the Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather fight. Logan Paul, who is a famous YouTube vlogger, will be fighting retired boxing legend Floyd Mayweather. The fight is scheduled for February 20th of next year. The fight has kind of been in the works for a while. A lot of back and forth, trash talk on Twitter, the usual stuff that keeps fights from actually being scheduled. I believe Logan was the one who initiated the idea because he was so eager to continue his momentum after the exposure he got from fighting YouTuber KSI. The fight, I think, was confirmed to happen after what his brother did. Jake Paul, Logan's brother, he fought Nate Robinson, a former NBA player, for one of the preliminary matches for the Mike Tyson fight. And that fight caused a big commotion on Twitter because Jake Paul knocked out Nate Robinson and caused a lot of memes and just, built a huge following. And that's when it clicked to Floyd. He's like, man, these dumbass Paul brothers generate a lot of views and money. I love money. And that right there said, all right, make this happen. It pretty much sped up the process and got the fight scheduled. This fight is just for entertainment. Let's be very serious. Floyd just loves money, and Logan just loves exposure. Logan isn't scared to fight Floyd because he knows he doesn't get paid along with that exposure. The same thing happened with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was an MMA fighter who challenged Floyd on the ring, and Conor knew if he won or lost, he was going to get the biggest payday of his life, and he did. This fight is just a win-win scenario for both fighters. It's more of a win scenario for Logan. He gets the exposure and the money. There's a reason why Floyd is 50-0. He never picks a fight where he's not 100% sure he can't win. Every matchup is carefully calculated and selected by his team because his team does all the analytics, all the numbers, and make sure that Floyd is going to get that money. I mean, it's been speculated years ago that they delayed the Manny Pacquiao fight because they were waiting for him to get old and and just not be at his peak anymore. I mean, at the time, he was fighting with like a shoulder injury. So that's why the fight was kind of disappointing. It just wasn't a full-on brawl. I mean, I have no confirmation this is how they do it, but it's just very speculated because he doesn't really he's never really had a close loss, I don't think. This will not end in a knockout. If so, it'll be something like a technical knockout like what happened with Conor. Floyd is just not a knockout artist. He plays the waiting and scorecard game. Let's say that Logan is prepared, he's in great shape, and has the power to knock out a professional boxer like Floyd. Either way, Floyd knows the sport so well that he uses his great vision and evasive techniques to be probably one of the best defensive fighters that we've ever seen. And the rules help him out too, since he knows the rules so well, way more than Logan does. And of course, Floyd's gonna do his thing where he runs around and waits for the fighter to get, agitated or steamed out, and he'll capitalize on the advantage point that will make him win a round or the fight in general. I'm pretty sure both guys are in completely different weight classes. I'm gonna assume Logan is heavier than Floyd. I'm curious if he's gonna lose weight or is Floyd gonna gain weight and they're gonna meet halfway. I don't know. I mean, either way, we can't really take it seriously as an actual fight. Don't overthink this fight. It's simply a professional boxer fighting a YouTube vlogger that boxes on the side. I mean, just the headline itself is very controversial and grabs a lot of people's attention. It's a famous YouTuber people don't like because he's controversial, fighting a boxer that's undefeated and who's very cocky and loves to flash his money. Either way, somebody's going to come out of this happy if you're an audience. You get to see Floyd finally get knocked out. And we finally get to see Logan Paul get shut up in the ring. I mean, am I going to watch the fight? Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to watch this fight. I mean, it's something I've never seen before in boxing. And I grew up watching boxing with my family, my parents to be exact, because they always go to boxing parties with their friends. And it'd be nice to have a lot of food and just hang out and watch boxing. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll watch this fight, and depending how it goes, I might even do a post-fight review. So we'll see what happens with that. Hello, welcome back to the show. And as you can see, I have a special guest appearance introducing my third live guest, Jessie.
Thank you.
Hey. For those of you who don't know who Jessie is a very special person of mine. She is actually my girlfriend, and we're going to be talking about two topics. We're going to be talking about The Bachelorette, starring Tayshia Adams, and then we're going to be talking about the new Selena series that came out on Netflix. So let's get started. How are you doing today, Jess?
I'm doing good. We just had ice cream. So.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
We got some Culvers.
We got some Culvers.
I asked for the flavor of the day because I thought the flavor of the day was peanut butter and cookie dough. Mm-hmm. What did I get instead?
Turtle. You got nuts.
I got like a turtle sundae custard. I was very confused. But hey, still tasted good. So let's get rolling through. Start The Bachelorette. So some of you don't know, on this season of The Bachelorette, Tayshia Adams replaced Claire Crawley because she chose her man Dale Moss to be her husband. So they had, hey, we need more screen time, so let's get Tayshia Adams in. Kind of, what are your thoughts on Tayshia replacing Claire so far?
I like her. I thought it was a good move because they had to get rid of Claire. She was making everyone angry, pretty much.
You're right. And, I mean, I always liked Tayshia Adams because she was on, I think, Colton's season on The Bachelor, and then she was on Bachelor in Paradise. And, like, kind of Bachelor in Paradise is that show where they expose the true nature of the contestants. Like, it's just like a loose, casual party, get drunk every day, and then hook up as many people as you can. And that's kind of where people stop acting like suck-ups and act like real human beings. And Tayshia Adams, she was genuine even on that show too. And she had a nice thing going on with John Paul Jones. And I liked him, and I thought they're a good couple, but didn't work out, obviously. And I like how she kind of puts her foot down and be stern when she needs to. There's like little drama going on. She's going to call someone out or call the whole group out. Saying like, hey, I ain't got time for this shit. Let's keep going. I'm here to find love. And it's just a huge improvement. Claire is just terrible, in my opinion.
Claire didn't want to be on a show, I don't think.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I just didn't like her because she just kind of came off as very manipulative. That one date with Jason where she pretty much forced him to like express his true feelings on a first date.
Yeah.
Like, it was really uncomfortable to watch, and she didn't really give much of the guys a chance when she was set eyes on someone. Like, I understand, like, she did Dale the most, but she didn't really give the other guys much of a chance, I don't think.
Which was a little ironic because she only wanted Dale, but then she wanted all of them to stand up when she walked in a room.
Yeah, she did feel like she can do no wrong. She just wasn't very likable. I mean, Sam, I talked to Sam about her, and he hates her so much. Oh,
and
my
she's
Lord.
probably a perfectly likable person.
Yeah.
She's just not made for the Bachelorette, I don't think.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, what they wanted on the
right.
show.
It's just a weird season with COVID. But like, back to Tayshia and her contestants. Do you have like a favorite contestant that you like? It could be someone that is just really funny, or someone that's really nice, or someone that could be the potential winner. Like, what do you? Who are your favorites? I guess.
Currently, I really like Ivan and Brendan, but they have similar personalities, I think.
They're kind of too nice, in my opinion.
They're really nice. They're low-key, really nice. No drama. They're genuine, but I think, I don't know. I don't know if they're old enough or, like you were saying, have a career that she would want.
Right. Kind of like my favorites. So when I look for a guy, someone's really genuine, someone's cool, someone that doesn't really take it too seriously. More importantly, someone that's not a suck up, because that's the thing I hate about this show sometimes is the characters are such suck ups, and I think someone that kind of fits this role is Zach C. I like Zach because he has a nice story. He has a very interesting story, and he's just likable.
He is likable, yes. You don't think he's a suck up, do you?
I think in a way he is, but he's not like the most. He's not the biggest suck up. I think Brennan and.
Oh, really?
Brennan's very timid. He's not very confident himself.
No, he's not.
Like when she says like a joke, like he takes it to heart sometimes before she reveals it's just a joke.
That's true.
Yeah.
She needs someone a little tougher, I think.
Right, and I think I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Zach's the most toughest of the top contestants. I think. Yeah. Brendan's too nice. Ivan is really really nice too. But just for comedic relief, I really like Ed. He's grown on to me. I used to hate him.
Me too.
I mean, I used to hate Eddie Munster, but No Neck Ed has definitely grown on to me.
Ed. He's just good. Now that can we say this? Can I say that he's gone?
He's yeah. Okay. Go ahead, I don't care.
Well, I mean, I guess anyone who sees this is hopefully.
I mean,
but a disclaimer. Ed's gone, and we're a little sad about it. He was good comedy in the background.
No Neck Ed, dude.
No Neck Ed.
One of my favorite scenes is where he's doing those neck workouts. Like, no wonder his neck is gone. He has too much muscle around his neck.
I don't know why he thought he could do that.
Yeah, but in terms of like my favorite match for Tayshia, kind of my projected winner, I put Ivan in the mix. Yeah. Because they just look like the perfect Facebook couple.
They do look nice together.
I just think they look real good together. They get along. They have a lot of fun on their dates.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm rooting for Ivan. Eddie's my favorite comedy dude. Zach's just my favorite overall dude. Yeah. But then Ben, he's up there too.
After last week's episode, Ben rose in the rankings. I did not like Ben. Yeah. I thought he was being fake or not genuine.
Right.
But turns out he
has a dark history. Yeah.
Right, and that takes a lot to reveal to Tayshia, so I get it, why he was a little bit timid.
Right. And as you know, it's like the show's different because of COVID. Like, do you like know anything like how the dates are different, or like the whole show itself is so different because of it?
Well, they were riding around scooters a lot.
That was really, I do notice that.
There've been a lot of scavenger hunts around the hotel. Like Quinta, they don't leave that at all. We were talking about Chris Harrison's always around now.
He's always put in the work to make sure the dates are as cool as possible. There's a lot of Chris Harrison screen time. You only see Chris during like rose ceremonies usually, or like just to give the card, but you see definitely a little bit more of him. And he's been around the show for years, and so he's obviously a fan favorite.
It's fun, yeah. Yeah, I don't mind how they've done the show. I think they've really done a good job with the whole COVID situation.
Oh, yeah. And I noticed there's not a lot of guest cameos.
No.
It makes sense because people have to be tested, and then you have to get them out there, and some people may not want to be in the show because of COVID. It was kind of a really strange, not strange, but kind of a good mix having JoJo Fletcher as a stand-in for Chris. I'm not sure what happened, but Chris is gone for a couple episodes. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Maybe something came up.
Yeah.
And JoJo was, hey, I'm available if you want me to look just kind of do his role.
Yeah.
And she's nice. I like JoJo.
I didn't know JoJo before.
She was a contestant.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was Chris Solis' season.
Oh.
Maybe the one after him. But either way, yeah, she's a recent contestant. She's a
Yeah.
fan favorite. She's kind of one of the few contestants that actually came out with a marriage. I think she's married.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that.
Yeah.
I know JoJo is one of Mary's like all-time favorites. Okay. I'm sure she was happy to see her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then kind of just like recent drama that's going on. What are your thoughts on Bennett returning? I honestly did not expect it, and because beginning of the show, Bennett was one of my favorites because he was just like this very sophisticated, mature, perfect dude. He's like, oh, this dude looks hella like Rico Suave, like really cool. But then as he talked more, I slowly started to like take him less serious. First, I was like, oh, he's my favorite because he's just funny because he just says like very silly things. But then the more he kind of interacts with the guys, he kind of just comes off, he's like a bully. He's
a bully.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like him anymore either. And then he just comes out of nowhere like, hey, I came back because I just realized I'm in love with you. Like, you couldn't say that when she was eliminating you.
Yeah.
He's just playing with her.
Yeah, it definitely seemed manipulative. He was like, I know I can get back in the house if I tell her this.
Yeah, because I think deep down he knows Tayshia didn't want to send him home, but she thought she had to because she was questioning him. But like,
he's smart.
He has a Harvard degree, Jess.
He's a Harvard degree.
He doesn't know about limousine, but he knows how to get back into the house.
Yeah, he's entertaining, and I think I wonder if the producers had some role in being like, come on, Bennett, come say something to Tayshia, we'll film it, and then you'll get back on the show.
Oh, yeah, I'll stay.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
I wonder what's going to happen when Noah sees him. It's like, oh, shit, I just kicked my bully out, now he's back.
Noah's so happy.
Yeah, I'm sure the other guys aren't going to be too thrilled. I honestly think if Tayshia keeps him, the guys are going to question her. They're going to be like, is she really the one for me if she's going to bring back this douchebag?
Right. Well, and then she told Zach C she's falling in love with him too. And then she's like, oh, well, then I'll bring back Bennett.
Yeah, it kind of takes a punch in the gut.
It away, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really show much truth in what she says.
Right.
If her mind's on someone else, even when they're not there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So either it could be someone that is your favorite, or it could be someone you really think is going to win it. Who do you think is actually going to win this season? And why?
Ooh, that's tough. Okay, I was thinking Ivan, but then after the last couple episodes, Zach has kind of risen.
That's my pick too.
Yeah. He's just he's steady and he's stronger and has he's older with Tayshia likes.
Yeah.
He's mature.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. I'm going to go discount Matthew McConaughey. I mean, like, he has the biggest comeback story for TV. Mm-hmm. He was a guy that had drug problems, and he's a recovering addict, and he has a job where he helps recovered addicts. He has a very supportive family, so I'm sure Tayshie's going to like that. Because he got like Riley, where his family doesn't seem to be in the best place, and I've seen episodes or seasons where I think it was a character named Dean was on Rachel Lindsay's season, and he had a bad relationship with his dad, and his mom is not in the picture because she passed away. But like that was kind of the deal breaker. He just had family problems, so that kept Rachel from keeping Dean in the show that season. And I think that's probably what's going to happen with Riley if he makes it to the hometown dates. As I mentioned, like he has a very good backstory, and he's a fan favorite. I don't really know anybody I know that has a problem with Zach C.
No, he doesn't start drama. Yeah. That's why in the beginning I don't think he wasn't on the air a lot. Because he just doesn't start drama with any of the other guys.
Right. So. That's so true. I mean, I'm rooting for Ivan. I'm rooting for Zach C. I'm not rooting for Bennett. He can take a hike.
Bye, Bennett. I mean...
I'm rooting for my man Ed. Hope he finds love.
He finds love.
Maybe it's Chris Harrison.
Oh,
I know Chris, they like each other.
This is where Chris was, maybe.
Maybe. He was waiting. He was waiting for him to leave.
He was waiting for
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this is a sports show, Jess. And you know what I do
Yep.
for sports? I do fantasy football.
Yes.
And Bachelorette has Batch Bracket. I mentioned this in a previous episode. Batch Bracket is literally fantasy football meets the Bachelorette and Bachelor. It's kind of confusing because it's not a bracket pick. It's a fantasy game where you pick your best, entertaining, most charming guys to score you positive points by doing the right things and being there for the right reasons. And then but if you pick guys that get sent home early or cause trouble or drama, you can lose points. So like that's what I love about the game. It's strategy. You got to pay attention. You got to pick the right guys. Their guys are there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And Jessie, we're in the same league together along with Mary and one of her friends, and we all have a good time. We always text each other in the middle of the episode saying, "Oh, I just got points." And it's good bragging rights every week. What do you like or dislike about Batch Bracket?
I just like it's one fun thing to do while we're watching The Bachelorette.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little bit of competition, little healthy competition.
Yeah, I like the competition part especially. I dislike that. You know me, I'm a very statistical, analytical guy. I use numbers to predict who's going to be a top scorer for next episode. I'm usually wrong.
It's not working
90%
out.
of the time I make my pick with educated guesses.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off is the previews for next episode don't really actually happen in the actual episode. They make it seem so dramatic than it really is, such as the cheating scandal. Turns out Zach C cheated on his girlfriend in 6th grade. That's what the whole hype is about. And the previews show content that's in not the next episode, but the episode after that.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's a preview for 1.5 episodes, maybe 2 episodes. And what I do like is just the little wins that are involved. Like we would get excited if our guy that we pick read the date card. You get 5 points if your pick reads the date card. It's just little things like that you get excited about. Jesse, you are actually in the lead for Batch Bracket. Yeah. What are your strategies to winning?
You're not gonna like. I'm gonna say this.
Probably not.
I'm gonna say it. I go with my gut, AJ. It's just a gut feeling every week.
So let's go with your heart.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I go with my heart. Yeah, I have no plan. None.
Okay.
I have no strategy.
Okay, you're just all intuitive.
Yes.
You know what my strategy is? Besides looking at the numbers, I like to play the long game. My top picks are always the guys I think are going to make it to the Final Four. Because the longer they stay, the more opportunity they have to score points.
That's true.
So I pick guys that go on a lot of dates, that usually have a lot of screen time and one-on-ones with the Bachelorette.
And the ones that aren't in drama.
Yeah.
Like, not picking Noah or Bennett. So avoiding the drama.
Right.
Kings.
Right. And it kind of sometimes, you gotta go with your gut and have fun with it a little bit. I like to pick funny guys that have weird quirks that will get you those random fun points, such as you get 15 points if the person talks to Chris, eats food, and usually that happens if they get a lot of screen time. So always go for the best guys that are going to make it all the way, or go with the guys that get a lot of screen time, as Jess mentioned. Don't get into a lot of drama. Because I'm pretty sure you can lose 20 points if someone says so-and-so is here for the wrong reasons. That's going to kill you week over week. Let's see. Are we doing on time? I'll wing it. Okay. So, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the new Selena series that's on Netflix. Growing up, I grew up watching the Selena movie with my sister in Spanish class. That was just a thing in my school. We just watch every Spanish class. You're required to have your Spanish teacher be hungover and show you this movie. So it's a movie. It's a show. The show we watch is the Selena the Series. It's a series about an up and coming Tejano Mexican American singer named Selena Quintanilla, and this show is kind of like the whole journey up to it. And I'm glad to talk to Jess about this because I've seen the movie. She hasn't seen it, so I get her perspective of what she thinks of the show as a raw person. To me, I can be biased because I love the movie so much that I might be skewed on my perception of how I think the show is. So, yes, like just looking at the show so far, what do you think of it? Do you think it's entertaining? Do you like it? Do you learn a lot of any stuff that?
Yeah, I like it. I honestly didn't know anything about Selena.
Right.
So they're giving a lot of background. Like, it's kind of taking its time through the episodes, like how much detail they're going through. So
Yeah.
I like that. But I can definitely tell it's a little bit like Netflixed up. Like,
Oh, definitely.
like it's always happy or feel good.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's realistic or not.
Yeah, and like kind of like my perspective, like movie versus the show. What I do like about the show is it gives a better role perspective of the family members, including the dad, the siblings, and the band members. Because I didn't really know too much about it because this movie was just solely on Selena. What I don't like is it's really funny. The actress looks and doesn't look like her.
Yeah.
She has the face, but the hairstyles just don't match the real Selena, even the movie and in real life. I think the show tried very hard to like, oh yeah, this takes place during the '80s, a real fun retro era of music and hairstyles. So we're gonna mimic that era. And I think it kind of skewed away from the actual style of Selena at the time because I try to look real hard for the hairstyles. I don't see too many images of her having the frizzy hairstyles.
No, and with bangs.
Yeah, she had a lot of bangs.
Yeah.
Even in the '90s, she had a lot of bangs.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like that, but I did like is they kind of go in more deeper perspective of the songwriting, how it's about expression. Songwriting is an expression of personal experiences. Either you're in love, you have heartbreak, frustration, just internal joys. So I thought that was kind of neat. And kind of some themes that I've noticed is like creative control is a big thing in the music industry. Like you can go big, but in the process you may lose your authenticity as a actual music artist. Yeah, I mean it touches on like the struggles of like being in the music industry as a minority. As I mentioned, they're Mexican American, and then being a woman in general. And it's like they're tapping into a very small music market called Tejano music. It's not like pop music or rock and roll where those will give you big bucks. So that's another struggle they go through. And they have this thing where since they're Mexican American, they feel like they got to appeal to multiple audiences, being Americans along with Mexicans. So they kind of find out where do they fit. Because they gotta be more Mexican than Mexican. They gotta be more American than American. That's what Abraham says in the movie.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, is what he says.
And then especially, Selena's growing up as a teenager. Like
Right.
she's just trying to figure herself out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's nice to like it's like they kind of emphasize the music making part of it as like, who was AB was like, I can't write a song, and then he remembers his dad's lessons of understanding all parts of the band, like all the instruments, the singer, and finding a way to mesh it all together to find that song, that sound for your song. So like, yeah, I mean, is there anything else I didn't touch on that I think is kind of important about this show?
No, I don't think so. Which one do you prefer so far? The movie or the show?
I'll go with the movie just because Netflix sometimes has cheesy shows.
Yeah.
Like I like the show. It's good. We're watching it still. And we want to finish it. And so it can't be that bad if we want to finish it because we've at least watched 3 shows and having come close to finishing them.
Right. We want to see a part 2.
Exactly. Yep. This is part 1 that's on Netflix. It's going to probably expand further into her music career into part 2. I'm not sure when that'll come out, but hopefully it comes out soon. But yeah, it's Selena the Series. It's on Netflix if you have an account. I recommend it if you've seen the movie or not. It's just kind of a neat show. I've never really seen a Netflix show anything like it.
Right.
Because I don't see too many shows that are kind of in that Mexican American kind of show or music that they touch on. What do you think of like how it's focusing on the family members? Do you like it or is it distracting?
Oh, I like it, but I don't have another perspective from the movie. But I think it's interesting because she did start with the band. And her family was huge, so I like getting to know the sister and the brother.
Yeah, I like Ricky. Those little dorky glasses.
Yeah, I want to get to know more about Ricky.
I hope he gets a whole episode about him. He's cool. Cool. Jess, thanks for coming in. I had a good time. Let's keep watching The Bachelorette. Hopefully, when Sam and Mary come in, we can all collaborate together on the season finale, or The Bachelor's coming in next month, so maybe we can talk about that instead.
Yep. So join a batch bracket.
All right. So thanks again, Jess, and we're going to take a quick break, guys, and we will get on with the rest of the show. So stick around. Yeah, this is it. We finished up. We got the final episode done of the season. I mean, it's been great, and as I mentioned, I'm going to be taking a 1 month break to kind of get, kind of have a little break so I don't get burnt out. But it's been fun. I was been working on this for almost a year now, and I finally put the initiative to actually do it. I stepped out of my comfort zone and made the effort to make this happen. I'm sure I'm not super famous because of this. I'm not even famous at all because of this right now. But who knows? This might turn into something bigger. I mean, I want to get bigger. I mean, you have a lot of stuff coming at you pretty soon for the next season. Just to give you a glimpse, I'm gonna start having social media pages just to be easier to put my content on social media rather than my personal, because I know people that I follow don't really care that aren't big sports fans. I mean, yeah, we're gonna the channel's be more organized. I'll try to have a lot more guests on the show too. I love having guests, so that'd be great. Just a big special thank you to everybody. The support's been really great, and I hope to keep doing this soon. Make sure you check out my channel because most of these segments are divided into individual videos. So that we don't have to watch the entire show for a segment you want to watch. So always subscribe to my channel so you know what videos will come out, and it could be just one clip that you just want to see. And as a special bonus content, I have a video of explaining the road to the Big 12 championship for Iowa State football. So I definitely recommend that, and had a lot of fun doing it. And it includes my prediction for the championship game coming this Saturday. So thank you again for everyone that's been supportive, and I want to keep doing this, and I think this will be something bigger than we expect. So signing out, everyone have a great holiday, and I will see you guys next month.